I'd like to start by thanking everyone for coming. My name is Candace Morris, and today I'm going to discuss a little bit about fairy tales, where they came from, how they started. They're originally known as folklore. They were based around myths and superstitions, and they were passed down from generation to generation, typically told around the fireside. They've impacted adults and children over the centuries, really helped boost kids' spirits and give them something to dream about. The oldest recorded fairy tale was in ancient Egypt, 1300 BCE. They do believe they go way back further than that, but there's no way they can document them, since they were oral tales that were passed down and not actually written down. There's several reasons why they were told. For fantasy wish fulfillment. In other words, the peasants had very difficult lives, and so in a lot of the tales, the peasant girl marries the prince and gets her happily ever after. And this was a way of them surviving on a day-to-day basis with their mundane lives and all the hard work they had to do. They were also told for the expression of fears. In fairy tales, there's always a way out, there's always someone to rescue you, there's always something to make everything better. So they told these to kind of, make themselves feel better. It gave them an option. They were also used for explanation, to explain why things were the way they were. A lot of times, depending on the social norms of that time, that's the way the fairy tale was set up. They were also used for education purposes. So to teach kids the difference between right and wrong and what would happen if they made the wrong choice. There's a couple different theories as to why fairy tales have been able to span the centuries and stay so similar, even over continents. The first theory is that there's a single point of origin. And with a single point of origin, when people have immigrated and things like that, that's how it has been able to span over the continents over the centuries. The second point is that there is a common human experience. All human beings have the same experiences over their lifetime, very similar experiences, which is why it's been able to span over the continents, because all humans tend to have similar experiences. Fairy tales constantly, they had a way of changing depending on the location and the teller, and whether you were in China or America or Russia, sometimes the location and things would change, the characters, the backdrop, but the tales always seem to stay the same. Long ago, most of the tales were much darker than they are now, which you may see whether in a movie or in a book. Sleeping Beauty, for instance, started out originally, she was asleep because of a prophecy and not because of a curse. While she was sleeping, the king was attracted to her and he raped her while she was asleep, and she gave birth to 2 babies, still sleeping. And the way she woke up in the original tale was that one of the babies sucked the flax out of her thumb that had originally put her to sleep. Now everyone knows the updated version, Prince Charming comes, saves the day, kisses the prince, wakes her up, and she gets her happily ever after. Even in Snow White, for instance, at the end, the evil queen has to dance to death in hot shoes. So all of the tales have a little more, gruesomeness behind them, deeper and darker, and so over time they've had to change. The Grimm brothers, Charles Dickens, Hans Christian Andersen, they've all over time had to soften the tales. They were originally put out as literary works for adults. Over a period of time, within the 19th and 20th century, they became more popular with children and more centered around children. They also had to rewrite tales several times over the years for sales, popularity, and even to go along with what's socially acceptable at that time. There's many people think that the tales should stay the same, shouldn't stay the same, that they should keep changing because that's the way they were meant to be. In the Victorian era, Charles Dickens stated, "In a utilitarian age of all other times, it is a matter of grave importance that fairy tales should be respected." And a professor at Harvard University, Maria Tatar, said that we should keep changing them. They were told around the fireside. They were never meant to be set in stone. So the next time you pick up a book to read to a child or to yourself, maybe you should try putting your own spin on the tale, or perhaps even close the book and start your own tale that you can pass throughout the generations. Thank you.